Thinking versus doing. Robert, what do you think about thinking about something, having a dream, versus like actually doing and executing?
I think this is like the story of my life. I think about big ideas and big dreams, but it's hard to like get to the point where rubber meets the road and you're actually doing something instead of just thinking about it. I think one example is I'm training for a marathon right now, and there's like this big difference between just like thinking, oh yeah, I'll do a marathon, or I'll run a marathon, but then all it really takes is just to start running one day and just run a mile, and then run the next day and run a little bit more, and then pretty soon you're running more and more. And I just ran 18 miles this morning. It was
Wow.
like way more than I've ever
It's
ran
very
my entire
impressive.
life. And yeah, that was kind of crazy, but it didn't feel hard. I just started doing, and I took the thinking out of it because I got like a workout routine online, and I just stuck to it. And so instead of just thinking about all the ways that I could run a marathon, all I have to do now is just implement and execute the strategy that's already been written up. So that's one thing.
I like that. I think again, as an individual, I think the value that you will gain from any kind of skill set that you're trying to develop is going to be once you start doing it, once you start pursuing it. So the doing part is so important. But I'd just like to mention, since we didn't mention a lot about the thinking part, but I'll mention some pros about the thinking part as well. I think there's like a lot of different books that promote the power of thinking and manifesting what you want in life. And I think everything starts from like an idea first. I think
Yeah.
the very important part is the execution. But like, if you're not aware of something, if you're not aware of, let's say, like a problem, or like an industry that is undervalued, a stock that is undervalued, many things, or like an opportunity in a different country, for example, if you're not aware of that and if you don't think about it, you'll never be able to go in that direction. And again, I just feel like as individuals who like to strategize a lot, we are the kind of individuals that think a lot about issues, and how to tackle a problem. And I feel like a person who can like really strategize and think and is well positioned to execute, like he's done it before. I think once you've done it once, then you can like really implement it for your next idea, next idea, next idea. So I think that balance for an individual goes long ways.
Yeah, because you definitely don't want to like rush into something and then regret doing that thing because you didn't think about it too much. So there's like, I think there's like a reason why we as people hesitate, and it does give us like this time to really evaluate a situation. But there's been so many times in my life when I feel like I've hesitated for so long, and I think the it's like the cleaning the room symptom. Like when your room is really messy and you think, oh yeah, I'll clean my room, and then it just gets messier and messier. But then eventually one day you just pick up one thing, and then you get the energy to pick up two things, and then pretty soon it might take you an hour or 2 hours to like finish the whole project, but like you just did it. And instead of, and all that time that you were thinking about cleaning the room, like there are certain tasks that I think we overcomplicate sometimes. What do you think? Do you think we ever overcomplicate the thinking side instead of just jumping to let's just do something?
Yeah, I agree. I think the overcomplication, for my case, comes from a fear standpoint. So for example, if I am thinking a lot about business and I'm overthinking about an idea, oh, I will do this, but I never execute, I think the underlying reason for not doing it is actually fear. Fear of being a failure, or fear of not knowing the industry, or fear of being an imposter. I think for like the bigger decisions where I feel like I'm overthinking come from a fear standpoint. But like a task, like for example, like, making your bed, thinking about it but not doing it, sometimes it could be laziness, which is not, it's not the fear. Of course, no one's really scared of that.
Yeah, it's like a fear, laziness. I feel like from a business perspective too, one of the things I've heard a lot recently is that businesses and the most successful businesses hardly ever do exactly what they initially set out to do. They like start something, and then it's like through the action of doing stuff that they learn and iterate, and they actually pivot and become something a little bit different than what they might have originally envisioned. But they kind of adjust to the market needs as they start to get momentum. And so even with this YouTube channel, I feel like we put off this for quite a while. Well, I put it off for a long time. And but just like doing these like just doing something, even, and not like having the paralyzing thought that, oh, this has to be the perfect video. We're like just in our car.
We're in our car and we've shot this video, different videos in different cities. Like we shot the first one in Chicago, we shot the second one in Houston, and we're shooting one in Utah. So, you know, we're definitely going the execution phase without really doing that much thinking as to like where this will go. We had an initial idea. Of course, we thought about it. We actually thought about it for a year before launching, but then we just launched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, this is all crazy too. Like the inspiration for this episode was just my mom. She was reading this book, Atomic Habits. If you haven't read it, really, really good book. And she just told me today that there's a difference between, there's two types of action. You can think about doing something, or you can actually do something. And I thought that was like,
oh yeah,
a cool insight.
I love that your mom gave that insight. And Atomic Habits is a great book. I'm actually curious for the audience. I think there are a lot of different things that you really need to think a lot about before doing, and some things you should just go right from the get-go. So drop down a few comments as to like what would be some of the things that you would think very deeply about before taking an action, versus something that, you know, gut feeling and let's do it.
And at what point in the thinking process do you feel like you just have to act before just continually wrestling with the decision indefinitely, and not taking any kind of action, but you spent countless hours just thinking?
I like that.
Are there any decisions, Kabir, that you've been thinking about for a long time but haven't yet been able to take action on?
Yes, there are many, and most of them are related to business, and they are related to multiple ideas in business. I have taken action on like particular business ideas, and all through college as well. I have always been in entrepreneurship and like taken the execution phase to be the most important part of the entrepreneurship journey. But there's so many ideas that keep popping up, and they just stay ideas. You know, they never become businesses because of lack of execution. So there are tons of things, but I think most of them are in the business realm. If it's something in like my personal life, I think I'm pretty good at taking action.
Just taking action, doing it.
Mm-hmm. What about you?
I agree. I mean, like YouTube has been something I've dreamed of for so long, and I haven't taken action until now. We're doing this right now for you guys.
We're doing this.
But I think also, yeah, like business ideas. I think I'm a dreamer. A lot of times, like I get really visionary and thinking like, oh, we could do this or this, and I've thought about podcasts. I've thought about like music and performing. I was on a dance team at my university, and I thought, oh, I could make a YouTube channel of all these different people performing like dances or like musical performances. And I feel like I can talk myself in my head, but then there's this action that I just need to do something so I can get feedback. I think that's one of the valuable things about doing anything, whether it's like asking a girl on a date, do it and get the feedback that you need to know if there'll be a second date. I think I've spent a lot of time dreaming about like a girl, and then realizing later that I probably could have, if I had a little more confidence or just a little more quick to act instead of just think in my head about it, I could have found out that she wasn't interested and moved on, or maybe by some miracle, like she is interested and I can pursue that relationship. But there's this, I think, phase where in my life, whether in my personal dating relationships or crushes or business ideas or YouTube creative ideas or any kind of project that just seems nice, I kind of put it off. And you know what's the worst, Kabir? When I think that, when I look back and I realize how many hours did I spend watching a video on YouTube?
That's right.
Like, I just watched like a full Mr. Beast video, and I think, oh, I could have done one of these other things that I've been thinking about doing, but just not doing. Maybe even while I'm watching that video, in my mind, I'm thinking about, oh, I could clean my room, for example. Like, there's been times when my room gets out of hand, and if I was just a little more quick to do instead of just think about doing, then maybe I could have had that clean room. And then maybe having that clean room would have propelled me to the next doing, the next thing, instead of. So yeah, I don't know. That's.
It's very fascinating that someone from the US and then someone from India thinks very similar in these aspects. I think I've shared the same things with like dating, relationships, and business, just like Robert was talking about. And I bet there would be hundreds, thousands of you who share those same decisions that you have to make for thinking versus doing. So I hope that this video that we created right now is something for you to think about in terms of what you should think about and what you should do.
And our challenge is to do something today, something that you've been thinking about for a long time. Just experiment and see what happens. If you never plant that seed in the ground, you're never going to know if it's going to grow if you're just looking at the seed. So, and also, if there are things that you need to think more about in your life before you do the thinking that's required. Like, think through. Like one example is I had to think through my marathon training and actually get down on paper what I was going to do for my training so that I could stop thinking and I could just execute. And so you do have to do a little bit of thinking. So, but I know that there are people watching this video that already have been thinking for a long time about lots of things. And so it would be awesome if you could take action on that thing. And if this video helps inspire you, let us know. We hope that we're making some type of a difference for someone. Even if it's just one person out there that sees this and does something, that will make us so happy.
100%. Go out there and do something new. All right. Checking out.
See ya.
See ya.